When Benjamin Netanyahu was on the show 2 weeks ago, he was hoping to be prime minister again. With this week's elections, his wish appears to be coming true. Sitting Prime Minister Yair Lapid called Bibi to congratulate him on his victory. But major concerns are being raised about just whom will make up Netanyahu's ruling coalition. I asked him just those questions in my recent interview. I want to bring you those questions and answers now. Let me ask you about your election, your potential election. There are reports that you would align yourself with a couple of members of parliament, potentially members of the Knesset, who are very right-wing religious nationalists, one of whom comes out of the party of Meir Kahane, who that group had something to do with the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. It was banned in the Knesset itself, was on a terrorist list for the United States. Would you legitimize a person like that by asking him to join your government or to even support it?
Well, first of all, it's, politics is, first of all, a question of alternatives. The alternative government has, right now, Muslim Brotherhood Party. That's the alternative between my government, potential government, and theirs. They have the Muslim Brotherhood Party, which supports terrorists openly, which also calls for the destruction of Israel. It's amazing that what no labor government, no left government in Israel would do, the current government has done.
But does that justify, would that justify your including somebody who's been regarded as a terrorist by the U.S. government?
I'll get to that. I'll get to that. No, I'll get to that. I would support anyone who's banded a terrorist, and that's not what is at stake. But the people that I'm talking about, I decide the policy. I have 30-some seats. They have much less than that. And ultimately, I've had such partners in the past, and they didn't change an iota of my policies. I decide the policy with my party, which is the largest party by far in the country. And we're a center-right party and a responsible party. But we are not going to adopt norms that, for the government that we don't agree with. And some of these things I don't agree with, so they won't happen.
You talk in your book about the charges, being levied against you, the court cases and such. And the leader of religious Zionism, one of these right-wing parties, has come out with a proposed legal reforms, which do seem like they would undercut judicial independence in Israel. Do you support those, given that it does seem like it is in some way you have a stake in this?
No, first of all, I wouldn't do anything that affects me. I think my trial is unraveling as it is. It's the fact that it doesn't appear in the elections tells you something, because happily information came out, and I think the charges are ridiculous. But it's not important. There's a legal process. It'll go through its completion. But more importantly, these suggestions, again, do not oblige me. I believe Fareed, if I had to describe my political philosophy, I'm a 19th century Democrat with a small d. And I believe that the principles that Locke and Montesquieu put forward, namely that you have to have a balance between the three branches of government, that's important. In Israel, you have to address some of that imbalance because it's different from most other parliamentary democracies. It's been thrown into a little out of kilter, but you don't destroy one of these nodes of the triangle, because then you're really out of balance. So whatever we do in judicial reform will be very measured and very responsible, and my record shows that.
Thanks to all of you for being part of my program this week. I will see you next week.